if you're concerned with privacy, internet security is an aspect of that. So in order to make sure that, if you want to make sure everything is private, you need to know about internet security if you're going to use it. So the best place to start with internet security is just understanding how the internet works. So what you need to know is if you are using the internet from your PC, you're connecting and sending information across the internet in a very specific way. So you're here, you have your PC. When your information goes out, it's going out through your modem, right, which is connected to the internet. Now you're getting your internet from an internet service provider. This would be a company or some sort of organization that is providing internet to everyone around you. Once the information goes through the internet service provider, then it's going to a country gateway. After it goes through the country gateway, then it goes out into the internet. And then if you're sending information to another country, then it goes through that country's gateway and then goes through another internet service provider, then to its destination of where the information's going. Now this is often your friend's PC, or it could also be other websites and things like that. So that's how the internet works. You have to understand all these different points on the internet to know where your information can be, cannot be private. The most common insecurity about the internet is actually the fact that people think communication across the internet is secure. So that, I mean, ultimately, any communication that is going across the internet can be seen and read by anyone else on the internet unless you've specifically taken steps to ensure that it's private. Because of the way that the internet works and the fact that all internet communication goes through a country gateway, that means that they can monitor all communication unless the communication itself is encrypted, if it's been packaged or put into something where you have to have a password in order to access the communication. So if you're just open and freely sending things across the internet and it's going through that country gateway, yes, governments can control, well, they can read it, they can see it, and they can see what it's being said. Yes, you do have to be a rocket scientist. No, actually, probably the most important thing for an average user to understand is what is the information that you're putting out on the internet? How does that information make you vulnerable? So you have to assume that if you are putting anything on the internet, that someone else will be able to read it, and then you then have to know what repercussions would take place as a result of somebody reading that. So anytime you're using the internet, you just have to understand, or an average person would just need to understand what the implications are of that information becoming public or other people being able to see it. If your computer has been detained or taken by the authorities and then given back to you, it's not worth testing it in any way. You just have to assume things in it are compromised and then take steps to either clean the hard drive or get a new computer and start using it. Anything, you just have to assume anything that then has been on that computer, the authorities will have gotten, because it's very easy to copy information off of a computer. So if a country wants to cut itself off from the rest of the internet and do something like the halalization that they're proposing in Iran, it is quite easy. Since all the communication that is going across the internet and out of the country has to go through this country gateway. So essentially this can become a stopping point and a place where they can either stop traffic from going in and out, or very much filter what goes in and out of the country. So what they can do here is it then becomes communication can only happen within the country. So everything on this side of the gateway, right, remains active. They will still be having internet information will still be going through the country gateway, so they will be monitoring stuff that goes on. So for activists, what that means is if they do something like that, you would not be able to use tools like Tor or other circumvention and proxy tools that could get you past a country firewall. These will not work anymore. The only other alternatives for using the internet would then become things like satellite and things that are coming in other ways other than through the country gateway. The most important thing I think for activists, if that happens, is to have that understanding that you're not going to be able to get information out quite easily by getting out around the country gateway or the country firewall. Any sort of external device, like say a flash drive or a mobile phone, these are quite easy to put down, leave somewhere, walk away. They're quite easy to be stolen and all that. So it's really critical that you've taken steps to protect these. Always with a mobile phone, you want to have a password in order for someone to be able to access the information on it. With a flash drive, it's really important that you've encrypted the drive, and any sort of password protection on it is quite key. No, actually, those services aren't. Cloud services are not safe. You're putting your information onto essentially a shared drive that sits on the internet. So it's quite easy for people to see the information that you put on there. So no. Contact lists are very contextual. So you want to make sure that, the biggest thing about contact lists is it might come down to guilt by association. So anyone that's in your contact list, that's associated might become associated to you, and then whatever activity that you're doing or engaged in, they could be seen as being guilty just from being in your contact list. So the biggest thing about contact lists is actually, should you actually even have them? So are you going to be incriminating anyone if somebody gets a hold of your phone and can see all the contact lists within it? Also, with your computer and a contact list on your computer, it's the same thing. Facebook or a friends list on Facebook and social networking service, it's even more so. It's much easier to see who your friends are. So whenever you're thinking about setting up friends lists or contact lists on social networking services, think about who's going to be able to see that, and then how are you incriminating or making other people guilty by association from being on that list. So if an internet user has violated laws in another country, other than the one that they're in, the only way that that person can be prosecuted depends upon the international agreements or whatever extradition agreements might be between the two countries. So if an Iranian was in Germany and violated some laws in Iran, the only way that that person could be prosecuted is if Germany and Iran have some agreements already around extradition, and that person could then be sent to Iran to face persecution. Anytime that you're expressing that you're both using digital security or you're teaching others how to use it, you're drawing attention to yourself. You're saying, I know how to use these things, and there's reasons that I know how to use these things. So you might want to be careful about broadcasting that you know it, and you also might want to be careful about who you're teaching these techniques to. So you would only want to be teaching them or showing people that you trust how to use it. A safe internet or a secure internet is realistic if you understand both the risks you're taking in using the internet and putting information across it, and also that you're using whatever tools that are available to you to keep your information private and secure.